Yo, it's your boy Jay Best, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, episode 37. On today's episode, I will be talking about the Eastern and Western Conference Finals game ones, and then I'll talk about the Doc Rivers and Ja Morant drama. All right, but as always, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without Him, I would not be here right now. So look around. I know it's different, right? This is I'm back at home now. School is over with, so I came back home for the summer. So I will be shooting my episodes from this Steelers sanctuary. All right, that's right. My family go hard when it comes to the Steelers. So every episode from here until about August will be in this room. Um, so let's go ahead and get straight to the point, y'all. So the Lakers and the Nuggets. I'm gonna start off with that game. Game two is tonight about 7:30 on ESPN. So y'all make sure y'all tune into that. Going into the series, I picked the Lakers to win. All right, I didn't tell y'all my game count, but I do believe the Lakers can win this series in six. What I saw on Wednesday, well, no, Tuesday night. Sorry, it makes me want to say Lakers in five, and I'm gonna tell y'all why in a minute. But I have respect for the Nuggets, so I'm gonna go ahead and say Lakers in six. All right. Going into this series, I did believe that Jokic would not be as effective as he has been this whole entire playoffs because guess what? We have Anthony freaking Davis, right? Anthony Davis has not just been an offensive star in most games this postseason, but defensively, he's been very, very consistent. So I'm thinking he's going to give Joker a run for his money. He's going to make him struggle. He's going to make him earn everything, right? But as we saw on Tuesday, right, Joker's going to get his regardless, okay? He's just that good of a player. I think the whole world needs to start putting respect on his name, including me, because I was never really a Joker fan. But after what I've seen over the past couple of weeks, not just against the Timberwolves and the Suns, but when you go against Anthony Davis the first game, and you come out there and you put up what 34 points, right? 34, 22, and 14 against Anthony Davis. I got to give you respect. So Denver did beat the Lakers 132 to 126, and the Nuggets are now up 1-0 in this series. So real quick, just a run of the stats. Joker had 34, 22, and 14. Right, that just cannot happen. Jamal Murray had 31 points and 5 assists. But this is where we lost the game. This is where the game got out of hand. When Kentavious Caldwell Pope has 21 points, when Bruce Brown has 16, when Michael Porter Jr. has 15, whenever Aaron Gordon has 12 points. That's too much scoring from too many people, right? We gotta if Joker gonna eat, let Joker eat. If Jamal Murray gonna eat, let Jamal Murray eat. But we can't let the others also have 10 or more points, especially when it's one, two, three, four of them, right? That's just too much scoring. LeBron James had 26 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Anthony Davis had 40 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 3 steals. Austin Reeves had 23 and 8, so 23 points and 8 assists, and then Rui Hachimura had 17 points. So this is what my problem was with this game. I think we lost this game the first 3 quarters. Okay, really the first half we was not playing defense at all. I'm seeing us getting beat on just off ball things. Where I'm seeing players cut to the basket, D'Angelo Russell getting left behind. Joker's hitting people on cuts. We're just looking bad defensively, and then for us to get out rebounded 30 to set to 47, right? We got out rebounded by 17. That can't happen, especially when you have Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is important in this series because he's not going to be able to shut down Joker. Okay, I think that Joker proved his point in game one, but you got to keep Joker off the boards. You can't have 10 rebounds, right? And then Joker have 22 rebounds. You're not rebounded by 12, right? Both of y'all are centers. You got to keep him off the glass. Keep him off the glass, or you got to attack the glass a little more aggressively, all right? So I think Anthony Davis let us down in that aspect, but he gave us 40 points. So I can't sit here and say he had a bad game because he went crazy on offense. But I thought this series he was going to shine more so on the defensive side, kind of keep Joker off the board, just bother him. But in game one, right? Joker got everything that he wanted. So he got rebounded 30 to 47. And Denver had 15 offensive rebounds. When a team has 15 offensive rebounds, that's 15 second chances that they're getting at getting the basket, right? That kind of explains why we was down by so much to begin this game because they were just out rebounding us on the offensive glass. 15 offensive rebounds compared to 5. Okay, so we got killed on the boards. I don't see that happening again. I don't even see that happening consistently throughout the series for Denver to out rebound us. All right. Denver's first 11 misses had 9 offensive rebounds. So there it is, 9 second chances they had off their first 11 misses. That's just not going to cut it, right? You're going to get blown out. And that's what happened in the first couple of quarters. They started to stretch the lead because of offensive rebounding. And this is how bad rebounding was. So in the first quarter, Denver our rebound was 22-6. We had 6 rebounds in the first, 6 total rebounds. Right, Anthony Davis had like 1 rebound, I believe, in the first quarter. That just cannot happen. So 22-6 in the first quarter. At halftime, it was 36-13 in rebounds, and then after 3 quarters, right, because we started to turn it up in the fourth. After 3 quarters, it was 40-20. We're just getting our rebounded. We're getting tore up. This is not going to work. This is how they won this game, all right? But then and Jokic had 6 rebounds in the first, right? 6 rebounds compared to Anthony Davis 1. That just it's not going to work. So I think we really lost this game on the boards, right? And then we didn't decide to play Lakers basketball until the fourth quarter. Before I get into that, I'm gonna explain the adjustment that Darvin Ham made. He needs all the credit in the world for this because he had Anthony Davis on Joker, right? And Anthony Davis could not stop him. So what he did was, because Anthony Davis, once he gets beat by Joker, I've seen a couple of times Anthony Davis would play up close and up tight, right? And then Joker do a little spin move. A Joker would get past him somehow, and there's nobody there to protect the basket. So Darvin Ham put Rui Hachimura onto Joker and left AD kind of roaming the paint, like kind of sitting in the paint, kind of like he's playing a zone, right? AD's playing the zone, but Rui's playing man to man with Joker. And I think that bothered Joker a lot because through 3 quarters, right, Joker had 31, 19, and 12. In the fourth quarter by itself, and this is when the Lakers started to come back after he made this adjustment, he was over 2. He only had 3 points, and those were free throws, right? He had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 turnovers. So I think we really bothered him in the fourth quarter because of that adjustment we made by putting Rui on him. And Rui Hachimura is not little, right? He's smaller. He's smaller than Joker, but he's not little either. So he has that body weight and that body build to be able to bang a little bit with Joker. Before he get prior to catching the ball and even after, and then he has help behind him because Anthony Davis, who is more deadly at the rim because he's a rim protector, he's there for when Joker get past Rui or when Joker backs down Rui and goes up. Anthony Davis is right there at the rim to protect it. So I love that adjustment that we made, and after making that adjustment led to our comeback. And the reason why I'm so comfortable with the Lakers in this series is because we played bad basketball for 3 quarters straight. The Nuggets, to me, played the best 3 quarters I've seen them play this whole entire postseason. Not just because it's my first time watching the full game of the Nuggets, right? But because I believe that they was making shots. I mean, we saw Jamal Murray make that shot in LeBron James' face, like he just threw it up. And we saw Joker throw up a shot at the end of the third quarter. We seen them making unbelievable shots. They couldn't miss. And we was playing bad defense. We was playing bad basketball in general. In the fourth quarter, we played Lakers basketball. And that took away. We was down at 21 points. We was down 21 points at one point in the game. That brought us back within 3. All right. And then LeBron James missed a 3-pointer that could have tied the game, and that led to them scoring, and it was over. It was over with, right? We couldn't do it. And the whole entire game, my dad was sitting there saying, "Man, y'all are down by too much." I kept saying we are in striking distance. We kept being down by 14, by 12, by 9. Then they'll hit a 3 by 12. Then they hit another 3 by 15. Then we'll hit 2 threes. Then we down by 9. Then they hit another. It kept going. It kept going back and forth between that single digit and double digit deficit. And I kept saying we can come back. But whenever you're down by so much, like I said, at one point it was down by 21. And you keep trying to bring the lead back, you're expanding so much energy that by the time you're there to tie it or you're down by 2, down by 3, you're dead tired, right? And all the other team has to do is make 1 or 2 shots and you're down again by double digits or by 9 points or by 8 points or whatever. So the first 3 quarters put us in such a bad position that we couldn't come back. So I have a lot of faith in the Lakers right now. I'm so tempted to say Lakers in 5, but I'm going to keep it with Lakers in 6 because I believe that we are a better basketball team, and we showed it because the way we played in the fourth quarter is the way we've been playing the whole entire playoffs. We are a defensive team, okay? We are the best defense going into this series. We was the number 1 rated defense in all of the playoffs. So we turned the defense up. Started playing better in the fourth. We came back and almost won this game. So if I'm the Nuggets, I would be very concerned because we really played bad basketball for 3 quarters. Y'all played great basketball. Like I said, making crazy shots, playing good offense, playing a little bit of good defense too. It had a lot to do with us playing bad offense. But in the fourth quarter, when Austin Reeves got going and LeBron got going and our defensive game plan on Joker started to come together, we started to come back. And like I said, LeBron James missed a bad shot that he took. He missed that shot that could have tied the game. And then after that, they scored and expanded back to 5. And then we all know the rest was history. So I'm very confident going into game 2 tonight. I do believe the Lakers will win tonight in Denver and tie the series up 1-1. And I'm looking at kind of like every other series that we've been in. I'm looking at us playing game 1. We won game 1 really in every series. We won game 1 in Memphis. We won game 1 in Golden State, and then lost game 2 in both. I think this one's gonna be flipped. We're gonna lose game 1 in Denver like we did the other night, and then we're gonna win tonight. Right, the 2 games at home should be ours, so we're undefeated at home. And then Denver should win game 5, and then game 6 we should close it out in LA. I think that's the way. That is the formula, right? 6 is the magic number. 1-6 against Memphis, 1-6 against Golden State, and I believe we'll win in 6 against Denver. But game 2 is tonight on ESPN at like 7:30. All right. The next game I want to talk about is the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, to me it was a shocker because going into this series, I said, all right, Boston. I got Boston winning this series, but people kept telling me it's gonna be an easy series. They're thinking like 5. They're thinking like maybe even a sweep. But I'm looking at this Miami team and I'm saying they're too well coached. They're too physical. They're too fundamentally sound, right? And we all know who playoff Jimmy is. So there's no way they're gonna lose this series in 5 or 4 games. So I was thinking 6. But after last night, I might want to go for 7 because I think this Miami team is way better than people believe, and it's not because they have star power, right? We have to give Eric Spoelstra, right, the head coach for the Miami Heat. We got to give him a lot of credit because in the league today, where we have Monty Williams getting fired, and he had Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, right? We have Doc Rivers getting fired, where he had Joel Embiid and James Harden. I'll talk about that later. Eric Spoelstra has 1 star. Like Bam Adebayo is not a star. Gabe Vincent is not a star. Max Strus is not a star. Kyle Lowry is not a star. He has 1 star in Jimmy Butler. And the team is so well coached that the others come to play, and Jimmy Butler gets his teammates involved. So we're looking at a team that was the A seed, beat the Bucks, right? Next series beat the Knicks, and come into Boston and really punch them in the mouth for the first game. Okay, game 1, he beat the Celtics 123-116. And the Heat is up 1 right now. So Jimmy Butler had 35, 7, and 6 steals. So 35 points, 7 assists, and 6 steals. Playoff Jimmy at his best. And then this is where it's kind of like the Denver game, right? It's kind of like you can't let everybody eat. If you're going to let Jimmy Butler eat, you can't let everybody else eat because Bam Adebayo had 20. Max Strus had 15. Gabe Vincent had 15. Caleb Martin had 15. Kyle Lowry had 15. Like, you can't let everyone. Between 4 of their kind of like their others, right? Their role players. That was 15, 30, 45. That's 60 points between 4 of those players. And then you add on Bam's points. Then you add on Jimmy's points. So, I mean, that's just, you're going to lose that game. And that just shows that Boston did not play good defense that whole entire night when everybody is scoring 15. That's just not a good look. Jason Tatum had 30, though. Jaylen Brown had 22. And then Malcolm Brogdon, who to me, 6th man of the year, he is bringing 17 points a game. He had 19, but he is bringing that offensive star power off the bench because we know he started in Indiana last year and then came over here coming off the bench for a better team, but he has that starting experience, right? So he came and he this year he's really been balling off the bench. So that's why I keep saying this Boston team is so deep, and this is why I picked them to win this series because I think they're too deep to lose to a Miami team. But in this game, I think this is a couple of places where Boston lost it. Okay, I'm looking at field goal percentage. Miami shot 54%. Boston shot 52%. But the 3-point percentage, right? Boston is a 3-point team, all right? This is a team that last year under Ime Udoka was known for defense. That's what they was doing because Ime Udoka brought that defensive identity to the team. But now Joe Mazzulla, the new head coach, is more of an offensive-minded kind of coach. So he loves them shooting threes. He loves the offensive side of the ball. So in a game against Miami, when Miami shoots 52% from the three-point line and you shoot 35%, that's going to be a problem. You're going to struggle against the Miami team. In the third quarter, this is where the game got out of hand, is when Miami outscored Boston. Boston scored 25 points. Miami scored 46 points in the third quarter. That's a franchise playoff record. So we're looking at a team that had LeBron in his quote-unquote prime. We had Dwayne Wade in his quote-unquote prime with Chris Bosh and Ray Allen and the boys. And they've never scored 46 points in a quarter. That just shows how poor Boston was playing defense. And that shows just how much offensively the Miami team executed so much so that's where the game was pretty much lost. And then Boston also turnovers. Remember last year in the finals, they was their problem was turning over the ball. Well, they're starting to go back that route because in the first half they only had 5 turnovers, and the game was close. Right, the game was tight. And then the second half they had 10 turnovers, so they had 15 for the whole entire game, but only 5 in the first. So we got to look at that and say, man, that those 10 turnovers kind of led to that 46-point quarter. All right, so we got to they got to clean up the turnovers and Jason Tatum. So in game 6 last series, right, against the 76ers, remember when he shot like 0 for 10 at halftime? At one point, he was like 1 for 13, 1 for 14 when he had that terrible shooting night. And in the fourth quarter, he went off. He went crazy and won the game for him, right? Outscored the 76ers. If we're going to give him credit and praise for that, we got to blame him for last night. So last night, as Boston was trying to come back in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter in general had no shots. He did not shoot the ball at all in the fourth quarter. So when my team is coming back up, my best player is not shooting. To me, that's a problem. And Jason Tatum just the other day, like I said, game 6 when he had that crazy fourth quarter, he said humbly, "I'm one of the best players in the world." Well, you shot 0 shots in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, that's the quarter where stars are made. That's the quarter where you got to put teams away or get your team back in the game. And you had 0 shots, and then you had 3 straight turnovers. There was a bad pass that was intercepted by Jimmy Butler, and then 2 back-to-back travels. So 3 consecutive times that he had the ball in his hands, it led to a turnover. That's just not being able to close the game out. That's not being able to finish. Okay, and Jason Tatum, like this whole entire playoffs been like a roller coaster ride, right? It's been ups, it's been downs, it's been ups, it's been downs. And last night was a down moment for Jason Tatum. I know he had 31 points overall, but if we look at, 30 points overall. When we look at that fourth quarter, when you have 3 back-to-back turnovers and no shots, you had more turnovers than you had shots attempted. That's not going to win you games. So Jason Tatum got to wake up in game 2 and kind of give his team a better showing than he did in game 1. Because if we can sit here and kind of ignore the first 3 quarters in game 6 and praise him for the fourth quarter, then I can sit here and ignore the first 3 quarters in game 1 of this series and then criticize him for the no shots and the 3 turnovers. Like I said, more turnovers than shots you took in that fourth quarter. So Jason Tatum really blew it for this team last night, and not just that, but the third quarter when you only had 46, when you gave up 46 points and you only scored 25, that is also a problem. All right. Last thing I'm gonna talk about real quick. Number 1 is Ja Morant. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I think this comes down to common sense. All right. Look, people gonna say he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't break any laws. Right. The NBA says you cannot have a gun. I don't know the exact rule, but the rule is you cannot have a gun. I know for a fact on NBA property. But when this is the thing, it's not like somebody's catching him, recording him with a gun. It's not like TMZ is catching him with a gun. He is literally going onto social media, and whether it's on his live or somebody else's live, he's flashing a gun for what? For what? When we go on social media and we want things to be seen, it's because we want people to know that about us. So, for example, when I go on social media, I got Steelers jerseys on, or I'm going to a Steelers game, or I'm doing this and that. I want people to know I'm a Steelers fan. Whenever I'm posting things about the Straight to the Point podcast, I want people to know that I have a podcast. When you go on IG Live and you fashion a gun, you obviously want us to know that you have a gun. So this is why I said last time when I had that video about Ja Morant, he's trying to put on this gangster identity, right? That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to push that. He's trying to push that narrative into the world that he's about that life, that he's a gangster. When at the end of the day, nobody cares. We want to see you go hoop. So just shut up and dribble. That's what that white lady said to LeBron James a couple of years ago. Shut up and dribble. Well, Ja Morant, stop doing what you're doing and go dribble the basketball. Okay, I don't understand. I feel like nothing to talk about. I'm not finna waste my time on this show talking about a bunch of stupidity. I think it's something that's easily fixed. People talking about he needs counseling. He needs somebody to come and talk to him. No, just stop. You can have guns. Just stop showing it to us. Stop showing it to us on social media. I don't understand that. You're putting yourself in trouble, right? He already lost money for not being on the All NBA team, and that's had a lot to do with his off the court issues. And this happened like in March, and then 2 months later, you come and you do the same thing again. So I just don't understand. Like I said, I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it because I feel like it's nothing to talk about. Just put the gun down. It's not that hard, right? So, and it's crazy because people would kill to be in the position that he's in. and he's blowing it by doing something as stupid as messing with guns. And we look at history of sports, and we see people that had trouble with drug abuse, people that had trouble with like the people that was womenizers had trouble with sexual assault charges and stuff like that. And then we look at people that just had real issues that they was trying to deal with, and they couldn't do both. They couldn't play sports and do that. It was bothering them. But we're looking at John Morant, and his issue is flashing the gun on social media. Like, this is so preventable. It's so easy. It's so fixable. That's why I don't feel bad for the man. I hope the NBA really suspend him for half to a full year, because he's not gonna learn his lesson. He issued some apology. I'm not even gonna sit here and read it, because it's a bunch of bull. We all know this. You gave an apology last time, and I even told my friends, man, that looked pretty scripted to me, but I didn't want to come up here and say that. And everybody's talking about, oh, you so hard on John Morant. Well, guess what? It looked scripted, and I believe it was scripted, because he came back and did the exact same thing. People that are defending him, those are people that's getting on my nerves, because there's nothing to defend. Stop showing the gun on social media. All right, and lastly, Doc Rivers. Okay, I do not believe that he deserved to be fired. I think whenever and he was fired because they lost this series. It was up 3-2, and they lost the series. That's why he was fired. Okay, but in history, let's look at Doc Rivers. The 3 years he was in Philly, he went 154 and 82. He went to the conference semifinals every year. He's had 16 straight winning seasons, tied for the fourth longest of all time. He had 54 wins this season with the 76ers. That's the most wins since the Allen Iverson team in 2001 that won the finals. And then he has 1,097 career wins, ninth most all time. But this is where it gets bad. He has 10 losses in Game 7. That's the most by a head coach in history. And then so to me, a report said, and this is from a source, that the team believes that James Harden and Doc Rivers is not getting along. Obviously, they don't, and they believe James Harden will not come back if Doc Rivers was still the coach. So I think that led to them firing Doc Rivers. But in my opinion, in Game 6 and Game 7, James Harden went like 4 for 16 in Game 6, 0 for 6 from the 3 point line, right? In the Game 7, he did the same thing, like 3 for 11, right? 1 for 3, 1 for 2 from the 3 point line. He played horrible in both games. Joel Embiid played okay, 26 and 10 in Game 6, but Game 7 played terrible. That's not on Doc. And in Game 6 and Game 7, your stars have to come and end the series. Doc can't play for them. Doc can coach him, but he cannot come and play for him. So I do believe that we're blaming Doc Rivers for this 76ers team falling apart, when at the end of the day, the best two players had bad games in Game 6 and Game 7. Those are the two must-win games. So the fact that this team chose James Harden over Doc Rivers bothers me, because James Harden has a history of falling short in Game 6s and Game 7s. So if you want to stick with James Harden, you go ahead. But this is not going to get you a championship. And I do believe Doc Rivers will have a job next year somewhere. And I think they dropped the ball on this one, because Joel Embiid is healthier and playing at his best under Doc Rivers. So you never know. I think that relationship between him and Joel helps him a lot. And honestly, I'm mad at Joel, because Joel didn't come out and say, hey, we keeping Doc. I think as the face of the franchise, you have a say-so and who's your coach and who gets hired and who gets fired. And obviously, he didn't say anything for Doc. So I think Doc Rivers, like I said, will have a job. I think Philly went the wrong direction with firing him, but we'll see how it plays out. All right, but that's it for today on the Straight to the Point podcast. Y'all stay safe, y'all stay blessed, watch the game tonight, and much love, and I'm out.